So here we are for the first video in the new space, and we're looking at the PreSonus StudioLive 16R. Today's just going to be a first look video, and then over the next couple of weeks I'm going to really dive into this and do an in-depth look at all of the features. It's pretty impressive on paper. So we've got a single rack space unit. Now it's got a little weight to it. It's definitely deep. It's not the old half depth units that were super light like the Digimax. This definitely has some weight to it. It's built well. It's metal. There's no plastic that I can see on this, and it's really nicely built. You got 12 combo jacks on the front. Those are really nice high quality 1/4 inch and XLR combos. A mute all button, which could come in really handy should something go wrong. Headphone output with control, and then around the back you get your other 4 inputs: 13, 14, 15, 16, more combo XLR 1/4 inch jacks, and 15 and 16 also have RCA inputs, which could be really helpful. 8 outputs left, right on XLR, and then 6 more auxiliary outputs on a 1/4 inch tip ring sleeve. Networked audio, that's going to be AVB, same protocol that Mark of the Unicorn uses. Then we have network control, and then we have USB control. So we're going to go ahead and hook it up for the first time to MacBook Pro using the USB, and we'll see what happens and play around with it a little bit. Alright, let's see what happens here. Powering it on, looking good. Hey, it looks like we're in business. Like it's all working. 18 channel, 24 bits. So that's it. Fantastic. So we can start playing around with some audio here. And let's check for a firmware update. See, I've got to make a PreSonus account in order to do the firmware update. So let's do that. That was really simple. There's a new version, and yes, we definitely want to update that. So here we go. This is really cool so far. Now sometimes this can take longer when I'm running the screen capture software. I've actually had like other software updates fail and like crash things only because I'm running the QuickTime screen capture at the same time. All right, let's hook a microphone up to this guy and see where we're at. Tascam recorder set to record. It's set to line level. I'm going to start bringing up the input so it's just a little lower than the mic going direct. And I'm actually monitoring this. I'm listening to the PreSonus right now, so I'm not sure what that's going to sound like. Let me take a listen real quick. And that sounds just fine. And I can turn off I had a compressor and a gate, but yeah, sounds okay to me so far. Let's go through just a channel strip. Well, now I'm just plugged into channel 13 because it's the closest one. It's on the back of the unit. It's out of the way. It's not up here. So that's just for convenience. But all the channels up till that point are identical. So let's take a quick look. Now we've got the input section here, which is really nicely laid out. Very simple. There's obviously input trim, 48 volt phantom power. You have a polarity reverse switch there. Then you have your high pass filter. Now I've just got this one set to 75. Then the main mix assignment, and then you have some subgroup assignments. Then up here we really have our settings for this channel, and starting with where you're getting the channel. It can be analog, network based, that's the AVB network, USB if you're using it as a sound card, if you're playing back tracks, for instance, from a digital audio workstation, and then the SD card. So right now we're just on analog. Your digital send to your audio recorder, again, if you're using this as an interface, you can either have those sends be pre or post all the processing here. Input delay, very helpful depending on what you're doing, and that's nice. That goes all the way up to 85 milliseconds, so plenty for resyncing video, for instance, in like a corporate environment. Color options here. Stereo link options, you have options to link the following things: the preamp and level, the input trim, compressor and limiter, any panning, the naming, the fader level, and then the insert effects. And then here we have some quick ways to label things up, so that's pretty handy here in the software. You'll have to excuse me if there's any glare. I've had some issues with the software losing control using the screen capture with QuickTime. So no more screen capture on this. It's crashed like 2 times now. So I'm pretty sure it is the QuickTime thing that's having a conflict. So that, yeah, it's definitely not the software here. The software seems to be fine. So right now I've just got the high pass filter set to 75 Hertz. That should be fine. Let's play around and see what the gate looks like. Hey, check one. Now there is some background noise here. I've got like it sounds like a fluorescent. There are no fluorescent bulbs in this room, but I haven't treated the room and I haven't figured out what noises are what. So I've got a gate set to just minus 5 dB, minus 4.7. There you go, minus 5 on the range, and that's just going to pull the fader back as I stop talking. So that's a really light application with a long 1.5 second release and a pretty fast, like 1 millisecond attack. So that's a pretty light application of gate. And this is a pretty heavy one. So that's a pretty decent sounding gate to me so far in the headphones, just spoken word. Again, this is a first look, so let's not go crazy, especially on YouTube trying to analyze. Under compressor, we have all the standard controls here: threshold, attack ratio, release, key filter, and gain, and you can choose your key source for it to be anywhere you want. And then there's different types. There's a standard, there's a tube, and then there's a FET. Yeah, let's play around with that. So here we go. Hey, hey, hey. So let's get that kicking in. Hey, check 1, 2. Yeah, okay. So that's just a 2-to-1 ratio compressor, and that sounds to be happening. Go with like a 12 millisecond attack. Hey, hey. Hey, hey. And let's, so it's a 150 millisecond release, and that's just, standard knock off the edge kind of compression there. Nothing crazy if I really eat it. This isn't like a broadcast compression where it's just flattening me, but this will keep any big things from jumping up and going too crazy. So I'll go over to a tube compressor here, and I can leave it there. Peak reduction. Hey, yeah. Hey, hey. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. So yeah, you can really squash it here with the tube comp. I'm just going to take hey, 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 yeah. Just take like 3 dB. Hey, yeah. Hey, check 1, 2, 2. Hey, hey, hey. So yeah, this is a really nice sounding compressor on the voice so far, at least in the headphones. Again, this sounds pretty decent. And then we go over to a FET field effect transistor style compressor here. And we got a few more choices here. So we got a 4-to-1's the lightest we can really go on this. And then, so again, just to take like 2 or 3 dB off. Hey, hey. Hey, check 1, 2, 2, 2. So yeah, those are totally decent sounding, usable, and there's key filters and key source and everything. So I'll go through that in the in-depth video on how to key a compressor off of something else, why you'd want to do that, and how to use these filters. And then up here it looks like we can kind of drag around some stuff, and we can change the position of the equalizer and the compressor. So I'm going to turn that compressor back off. That was pretty aggressive, and we will take a listen to the EQ here. And let's is there a way to flatten it? Not really. It'd be nice to be able to just flatten this with one button. That would be helpful. Always. There should always just be like a, see, that's annoying as well. There should always just be a flatten. I don't want to have to go through this to flatten EQ. Is there a shortcut that is super annoying the way that happens? That's got to be unintended. That's nice that you can A/B it. What I don't like is that if I'm over here on the low mid and I try to go to gain to type something in, a bunch of times that was, yep, there it is. It just jumps randomly, right? I'm not touching any keys. It's like, it's a single finger swipe. That's annoying. Like, and it always seems to go back to that low filter. There's a passive EQ section here, which is kind of, again, more of like a studio type EQ. You got bandwidth control. You basically have a low frequency select with a boost or attenuation, a high frequency select, a boost or attenuation. And there's a vintage EQ, which again looks kind of like a plugin. You get to choose where you're making your cuts. It'll be interesting to see what it sounds like recorded, but that's the vintage EQ section there. Turn that on and off, and so far, like I said, in the headphones, this stuff sounds good. There's a limiter here. Now, I don't usually use limiters on input channels, but hey, hey, oh yeah, okay, hey, hey, hey. So yeah, that could be really stiff. Hey, 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 hey. Yeah, so that's, if you get somebody that's really screaming, it can always be handy to have a limiter, and to have one on every channel, I can't see how that would hurt. And it's pretty cool down here, depending on which type of EQ you're using, it's represented in the channel strip. So that's pretty neat. So let's look over here at channel 15 and 16. There we go. Now we got some music happening. I'd like these to be... Okay, so 15, 16 is now a stereo channel. So I could choose, let's see, other, iPad. Sweet. And let's make that blue. Volume is down on the iPad. Yeah, so that's totally easy to, that's coming across on the RCA inputs there, and totally easy to assign that, make that stereo, name it, add some cool stuff to it. Maybe I need to, squash it real bad for some weird reason. That's super extreme, but it's crushing the hell out of that, and it turned up. I mean, it sounds awful, but it's not like degrading it's not degrading the tone noticeably. It's definitely squashing it, but I could live with that, Let's see what the mute sounds like. Pretty responsive. So right now I've just been on the main left-right output. There's an effects send. So there's an effects A. There's a plate reverb. There's all sorts of reverbs here anywhere. So there's a digital. Let's go through them. There's another digital. There's a 335 digital. Vintage plate. A mono delay. A stereo delay. And then a ping pong. So that's effects A, there's effects B, those are identical. And then you've got your mixes down here. So aux 1 through 6 are just as you would imagine, they're aux sends. And if you want to send things to those, you use these guys right here, aux 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And you can copy a mix over to another mix, just that simple. It's just select, copy mix, select the mix you want to paste to, and paste that mix. These are the mix masters here. You can see your effects and where everything is, and you can also go in and do some EQ, and there is graphic EQ on all of the outputs. So you've got on the main output, you've got graphic EQ, and on the mix masters, you've also got graphic EQ. There's also, we get back off of that, there's each output channel also has compression. This is a 6-band parametric, which is super nice for an aux output. And then there's a limiter here as well on those outputs. So super helpful. So feeding those physical outputs, you can have them either be the auxes, aux 1 through 6. You can have them be the subgroups 1 through 6. You can have them be a combination of auxes and subs, or you could have them be matrix 1 through 6, or again, a combination of those. So you have 6 physical outputs, and obviously we've talked about it before that, auxes, effects sends, subgroups on digital consoles, they're all mix buses. It's just a matter of how you use them, and those mix buses then can in turn contribute to a matrix. So back on our vocal channel here, and let's go down the right hand side. So we've got all of the settings for the unit here in the device settings, your permissions, what kind of mix access you want to allow each device to have. Device display mode can be in mixer. The fat channel mode looks like this. I totally like this. This is very, you can see absolutely everything, the gate, the compression. You can see it all here on one page, and I really do like that. So not something I would use this view a lot, but I totally get why people would want to do that. Let's get back in here, and you can have this sends view, which is interesting, kind of long throw faders on the sends. And you can have this meter view where you can see meters for all sorts of different things, input and output wise. So that's just some different display modes, which can be handy, I would imagine, for different devices. Phones, Q source, you've got peak hold select, which is helpful there. All sorts of other options here for things like linking aux mutes, the color scheme, dark and light, colorizing channels. Channel ID can be set from icon to icon and a number, which I'm going to change to icon and number right now. How to set up your DCA groups, edit pop-up, solo in place, control room settings, all sorts of different stuff here. Network settings, and I'll get more into that in the future, but right now I'm not using the network. I'm just over USB. Backup, so you can back up and restore, presumably to an SD card, I would imagine. We'll find that out later. And then the digital routing here for the SD card, what that's recorded off of, main mix or the flex mixes or subgroups, and the assignment channel for playing back, how you want to handle that from USB. And then network, I don't have any AVB audio networks to assign here, so that would be where that takes place, sends and return wise. I'm going to create a folder, and this is assigned to record straight off of the main left-right, so it should be recording the exact same thing I'm recording over there, and it shows that it's recording. Unfortunately, there's no meters in the recorder here. I recorded some stuff yesterday, and it did the same thing, and then I couldn't find it. Like, the file is on the card, I can put it into my computer, but when I play it, there's nothing there. So I got to take a little better look at that. But yeah, no record errors. Status is that it's recording. It should be recording the main left right, so we'll see if that actually happens or not. All right, so we're back, and that's pretty much it for a first look. I mean, this is a pretty long first look so far, but you know, that's as far as I really want to go at the moment. And as far as just a quick overview, so far this thing looks pretty cool. I really, well, that's weird. Oh, that's crazy. You can draw the EQ in. Don't ever do that. Who thought that was going to be a good idea? And if you did that with a live sound system, holy hell. If you went just, oh, I'm going to draw the EQ and went like that by accident, man, you could have some reconing to do. The RTA on the main graphic, very cool. I like that a lot. And that exists on all of the auxes, I gather? Yeah, it does. So that's pretty awesome. So yeah, you can assign your graphic EQ to wherever you want here, different subgroups, mixes, so on and so forth. Oh boy, I'm back in this fat channel thing, goodness. So that's it for the first look on the PreSonus 16R. I really like this mixer so far, and I can't wait to keep using it. Oh, one more thing I definitely want to do. Let me throw on the capture software. So let's not arm everything. Let's just arm channel 13. There it is. I can see the meters, and we are recording. So this is channel 13 recording, and we'll see how well that goes. This is pretty freaking loud right now in my headphones, but I'm not seeing a ton of meter there, so we'll play with that. I haven't adjusted any settings, but you're hearing the mic now through the capture software while the control software is also running. No, it's not actually. The control software does not appear to, no, the control software is not happy at all. Okay, we'll look into that more in the next video, but there it is, Capture 2 running, and we'll see how that sounds. So as a first look, that was the 16R by PreSonus, and it's a pretty interesting little mixer. I like the software. It seems to function really easily. It's very intuitive. This is definitely something that I could hand to somebody and give them a brief overview, and they'd be off and running with the basics of routing. I'm going to dig into this more without the cameras on, and we'll do some demos and see what we can use it on here in the coming weeks that might be a little more in-depth than just a spoken word thing, and see if I can get this out on a couple of jobs as a backup or a sub-mixer, things like that, where it's not super mission critical, but I can still give you a good idea of what it's capable of. So far, we did update the unit by setting up an account with PreSonus. Takes a couple seconds. You put in your information, your email, and you get the update. That was super easy, so big thumbs up there for the update process. Couldn't ask for anything more there. And hopefully, I'm really hopeful for this mixer. I don't think it was intended for the types of gigs I do, which are like, you know, broadcast and press conferences and corporate work and things like that, but the form factor could be perfect. You know, there's a lot of jobs I mix where I don't need to have hands on the faders making quick mix changes all the time. What I do need is a lot of processing power. I need a lot of EQ, compression, things like that, and the ability to record would be awesome. And then also having that same unit act as a split to do a multi-track recording using the capture software. This unit could be really interesting for people that do what I do. I think for anybody playing like music with a band that would use 16 channels or fewer and just have a few monitor mixes and some PA speakers, so far the control software and the interface seems awesome. So I'm really excited to see how well it works in the coming weeks as I dig in a little deeper. So that's it for this time. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and check the notifications on your subscription button to make sure you've got them turned on. I've heard from some folks recently that they haven't been getting the notifications, and I know with channels I'm subscribed to, a lot of times they seem to get turned off randomly by YouTube. So be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the support.